Hey, what's up? This is George Shamoun, and today I'm gonna go over an example how to. Hey, what's up? This is George Shamoun, and today I'm gonna go over an example how to use JavaScript. Move the mouse over this box, it changes color to red, and then when I move the mouse away from it, it changes the color to a different color from both, which is purple. So to refresh it, that's the way it was. Again, you go over it, it changed to red, and you leave it, it changed to. So this example shows you the hover effect of a mouse and it's changing the color of a box, and to show you the code snippet. So what I'm using is Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is the code here, and let me start from scratch. Close this, close this, close this. Okay, there's a lot of files here, but you don't need all of them. All what you need is the .html, the .css, and the .js file. So let me show you. So if I open this one here, the HTML, this is the HTML code. Actually, it opened the CSS. This is the HTML code, and I'm gonna open both the CSS code and the JC code file. So I'm gonna open the color CSS. So open HTML. That's the CSS. And then this is the JavaScript file here. So, this is the result of this code, the one you're seeing now. Okay. This is the HTML and CSS, and what does the JavaScript file do when I move the mouse? That's the hover effect event, and that's what JavaScript code is causing this to do, change the color of this box. So basically, JavaScript add interactivity to the web page. So if you look at the code here, this is the HTML code, and what it does, it just show you those boxes and the typing inside, and then you have the CSS code right here. That's the style sheet, and this will give it the border and the dots and the dashes and how thick is the border, and it will give it the color inside, the background color, and that's the boxes here, box 1, 2, 3, and this is the styles, the size even, and this is the JavaScript here file that makes it change color. And okay, so let me go over it, because I found it easier than writing the code and taking forever. So if you look at the HTML code, it's right here. Let me get out of this. Close this one. Close. Okay, let's look at each file by itself. So this is the HTML file, and this is the boilerplate on the top. What's nice about Visual Code, it has a lot of options like auto completion and live server and other options that makes it easier for you to code, and you don't have to remember every character. So what you do, you just enter on the top exclamation mark and tab, and you'll get this filled out for you. You don't have to remember. Then you just have to add the style sheet. So this link, this line, rel equals style sheet and href equal, this is the a link to the style sheet. So that's what the HTML document will use, this style sheet, the CSS, to give it color and border. So if you look at those here, those colors, borders, the typing, the red fonts, the black fonts, and the size of the boxes all come from the CSS file. So from this one here, I'll go over it in a second. So basically the HTML file will have the style sheet link to it. That's the reference. And then at the end, there's different ways of embedding JavaScript codes in your HTML page. But one of the ways, if you add a link on the bottom all the way between the scripts and src equal, and then you add the link to the JavaScript file by itself. So this is one of the, but you can do it in other ways, but this one you keep separate the codes from the HTML code, from the CSS, from the JavaScript, because there are other ways to embed the code. So if you look here, each box has a div, and I gave it an ID, box 1. This will help if you know some HTML and CSS and the basics of JavaScript, the very basic, So even if you don't know and you follow this and you type it, it's going to give you the same result. So the box 1, and that's the writing on box 1, box 2, box 3. And then let's open the style sheet that will give you the styles, like the color, the fonts, everything. So this is the style sheet. So if you look here, box 1, and because the box is an ID, you use the pound hashtag box 1, and then you have the open brackets, braces, and this is the width and the height, 50%, 50%. I made them all the same. And then you have the color. This is the color of the font, and the background color will give you the background color of the box. And then border style. So is the border dotted? Is it solid? Is it dashed? I used each one in a separate format, And then you'll give it how wide, how thick you want the border. So border width equal, I made it 5x, 5 pixels. And the border color, you'll give it a color. And then you have the margin from the top of the page, left margin, right margin, just to make space around the element around it, And same with those. So this is what gave it this look here. Those two, the HTML and the CSS, will yield this on a page. That's what it will give you, just like that, Now the JavaScript, let me get out of this. Okay, so this is the JavaScript. Okay, so this is a simple JavaScript file, but you have to understand what's in it and what it does, and I'm gonna go over it now. So let's look at the JavaScript file. So I put a code at a note at the top. This changes to one background color on mouse move over element, and it changed to another color on mouse sleeve. So what it does, as I mentioned before, it changes the color of the box on mouse moving in. When you hover the mouse over it for the first time, you're moving in over the box, and then it will change color on mouse move out. When when the mouse leaves the box, it will change color again. So what I did here is, and this is only about box 1, the first box I showed you. I didn't make any JavaScript to box 2 and 3. I didn't, just for 1. So if you look on the top, in JavaScript, also it's a good idea if you know the basics of JavaScript, like the variable, the syntax, the statements, the basic stuff. You don't have to do maybe myself. I don't know much. I'm just starting new. But so first you have to designate a variable, and then the variable will be manipulated by JavaScript. So the code. So basically, what I did first, var my container 1, and this is equal document.get element by ID, and inside it box 1. So this one is the format, how to select an element in JavaScript. So we're assigning this variable, the my container 1, to box 1 to this one, and the way you designate box 1, you start with the document dot. Basically, you access the document, then dot. You tell the document what method you want to use to access it's going to be here, get element by ID, because the ID is the box 1 of the div we were looking at. It's box 1, and then I have the function here, and I named it change color 1, chg color 1. I came up with this name, and this is the format of a function. Function name, and then you open and close parentheses, and then you open those braces, and you enter inside what you want to do. So what I did here, my container dot. So because my container indicates the div in box 1, the div of box 1 with element, I access the style of my container 1 dot style, and then you hit background color, and you give it a number, you give it a color. In this case, I gave it red. So what I'm saying here, this function, what it does, it's gonna change the color of the div with ID box 1. It's gonna change it to red, and on box. Now we didn't get to the JavaScript yet, how it does it. So this is the function. Then below it, outside the function, what I did, I accessed. It says my container 1 dot. I accessed the event, which is the on mouse over, and these are all built in. If you hit a dot here, it's gonna give you a list of functions. You don't have to remember them, but you have to understand what they do. And this one is on mouse over. What it means, on mouse over, do this, equal here, equal change color 1, and change color 1, the function, it's gonna call this function, which makes the color red. So basically, on mouse, there's a lot of logic, and it makes sense once you understand it. But the difficulty in JavaScript is to understand what's the element, what's the variable, and how you attach them, what's the method. And these are very basic. You have to know them initially when you start learning JavaScript. I mean, I still dabble with them. So basically, I'm telling I want on mouse over, and that's the event. I don't know if they call it event listener. No, event. This is the event on mouse, and what's gonna happen? So it's gonna change color to 1, which is the red. So, and the second one, that's another function. I gave it color 2, and I use the same format, my container dot style dot background, and I gave it purple. And then I used this function for the same box, and this time I used the on mouse leave. So my container one dot method on attaching, on mouse leave equal color to, it's gonna call this function, which will change my container one to purple. So this is what's gonna happen here if you look at the code. Okay, so this one here. So on mouse it says here, on mouse over color one, which is red. So on mouse over color one, it turned on red. And it says here, refresh it. Okay, and this one it says on mouse leave change color to, which is purple when the mouse leaves. So when the mouse comes in, mouse over, it's gonna be red, and when it leaves, it's gonna be purple. And this is so you have to know, to understand this, you have to know some basic JavaScript. But what's nice about Visual Studio Code, it lets you access the methods and the options and the styles without remembering them, but you have to know what you're doing, or at least the basics, why I'm attaching this and what it do, like now. So this one, it took me a while to figure it out and to come up with this, but this is a very basic project that will give you an idea how to use the statement and the function in JavaScript. And obviously you have to know HTML and CSS, at least the basics. If you made it this far, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. In case you're interested in more videos or have any questions, please submit them in the comments, and provide any ideas about videos you like to watch in the future. And make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button so you'll be notified with the future updates. And also watch the one on the screen. The one will pop up now, because these belong to the same playlist and they complement each other. Thank you.